Hello, we're here again. Welcome to another episode of Passive Income Active Wealth. I'm one of your hosts, Bill Fairman, Wendy Sweet, Jonathan Davis.
You look like you're about to just bust out in excitement. He's not usually this chipper, is he?
No, it's had my second cup of coffee.
Works every time.
So we are Carolina Capital Management. We are lenders, and we also have a fund that people can actually get passive income from.
That's
So
right.
if you're interested in borrowing money, go to our website, carolinahardmoney.com. Go to the borrower page. If you are interested in passive returns, then go to the investor page. Pretty simple, isn't it? Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. If you, by the way, have any questions for our guests that are coming up, we do have a chat box either on the right side of your screen or underneath, depending on the platform that you're watching us from. Having a great show today, don't we?
Yes, we do. It's all about land.
Yeah.
Solid stuff.
And listen, God only makes so much land.
That's right.
And the new land that he's making is not occupiable
That's
for a
right.
while.
It's a little hot.
That's right. So land is definitely valuable.
That's right.
And our next guest run the Land Academy. They teach you how to find properties, get them up, and get them on the internet with very little activity, right?
That's we'll find out, won't
On
we?
your
All right.
part, but a lot of activity on the buying
That's
part.
right. Somebody's doing the activity. So we have Jill DeWitt and Stephen Butala. Did I say that correctly?
Batala.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you. We're
Pleasure.
really happy to be here.
By the way, our show is all about education. We are constantly promoting the different spaces in real estate because real estate is so diversified. But people always think when it's real estate is I'm going to buy a rental property and only half the people are going to pay me.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to hire people to fix my house and I'm going to end up losing money.
That's right. That's right.
And frankly, we're a lender. Most banks hate raw
Lending.
land.
Yeah. You can't get rent off of it.
And why is that? Because typically, as a banker, you have to take the property back. The first thing you're thinking of is how quickly can I sell this property, get our money back so we can get it working
That's
again.
right.
Maybe they should talk to them.
That's right. So I'm really pleased that you guys joined us so you can kind of put some of this to bed. And it's also a really good way to get in with fewer dollars, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
So what we really love is your background. I love that you've got like activity going on in the back. There's people riding bikes back and forth. Where exactly are you located?
We're just south of LAX, like 15 minutes in Hermosa Beach, and this sweet spot is called the Strand, and it's it goes from Malibu all the way to South Redondo, almost Palos Verdes, and it's just the place to be, especially today. We're gonna hit almost 90 degrees at the beach, so it's
Wow.
beautifully warm for us right now. But it's awesome. It's gonna be a busy day out there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it makes me want to travel.
Yep.
For sure.
And it's usually cooler at the beach than it is inland. So what's
Yeah.
the inland temperature is going to be if it's 90?
It's going to be like 100 in LA today. And it's like,
Oh my
oh, this is
gosh.
the place to be. Come on out.
That
Yeah,
for
no
sure.
kidding. So that's air conditioned there now.
Yes, we're one of the few that actually have that, but don't tell our neighbors, please.
Yeah, they don't smile on that here.
All right. So you guys have been doing this for a long time, since 99. So tell us how you got started.
A lot earlier than 99, I was real frustrated with my job as an accountant at KPMG, and I went online and bought an 80-acre property. This is from the Midwest, literally sitting at my coffee table. Bought a property on eBay. It was 80 acres, paid $8,000 for it.
Good grief.
Took it into inventory. I guess we'll call it inventory now, and redressed it up on the internet. Put new maps, got somebody to take pictures, and then resold it for twice as much.
Wow.
All within 30 days, cash in, cash out. I was hooked from there. Here we are, 15, almost 16,000 deals later. It turns out it works.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
Wow. Wow.
That's awesome. Who's the typical buyer? Once you've picked up a property, who's your typical buyer?
It's well, we've accumulated over the years a massive database of potential buyers, and finding a buyer is not hard, especially with social media. That's kind of falls with on Jill's spot. You know, you can micro target people on social media that are interested in land for a ton of reasons, by zip code or by county. So finding buyers, there's really no, you know, the big challenge in this business for me is working with my spouse.
Oh, thanks.
I don't think she's quite as convinced.
Well, I don't feel that way.
I totally get it. I'd probably rip my husband's throat out if we had to work together. But
You know, we like to
so I
say
chose
that.
my brother instead. So I know that you can sell it to just about anybody, but why in the world is somebody buying land? That's the first question I get when we talk about people who are buying and selling land. You know, that's a really good niche in the real estate market. But why are they buying land? What are they doing with it?
Well, often our buyers are other investors, because one of the things that we do is we buy it so low. Our goal is to double our money, get out fast, and it's still way below anything on the market. So our main customer forever has been other investors. They buy for us and they mark it up and they can still make some money.
Wow.
So that's the thing, and that's why they sell so fast. But nowadays, especially COVID times,
Mm.
we have, you know, it's so amazing. We have sweet pregnant couples driving 2 hours out of Chicago to buy Tennessee property to build their dream house, because now they don't have to live in the city anymore. So it's just kind of all over. We have everything from people that's most of it's like recreational use. That's what a lot of people want to do it. They want to camp on it and have fun with it.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
three types of land in a big picture sense. There's recreation type land that's real inexpensive, and it's very rural and probably unfinanceable in most cases. The second type is an infill lot. You know, there's a house, there's a
True.
piece of land, there's a house. And so somebody, the buyer for that, it will be obviously a small home developer.
Hmm.
And then the third type is specialty use property, like property that's been master planned or zoned for, let's say, we just bought and sold a property for a hotel,
Mhm.
and it was pre-zoned for a motel, really, off the interstate. So they're very different buyers depending on the type of property you buy.
Yeah, the hotel space right now is probably not going to be the space that people are buying for at this particular moment. However,
We
as soon as
closed on
there's
that
a
deal
vaccine,
February 15th.
that will
Yeah,
all
we got
change.
lucky.
Yeah,
That's what he was saying. Yeah.
February 15th. It all changed.
So my question is, so you all are typically buying property, not really doing anything to it, and then reselling it quickly. Because I've heard a lot of people, they buy it, they subdivide it, entitle it, whatever, change the zoning, whatever that is. That's not primarily what you all do. You all go in. So how are you all finding this property so cheap that you can have those margins?
So a lot of years ago, through a tremendous amount of expensive trial and error, I devised a system where you take an assessor roll, a tax roll of a given county. You weed out or scrub the data out for types of properties and types of owners you don't want to send offers to. So you're sitting there staring at a data set, let's say in Excel, and you price the property and send everybody an offer. And the result of that is, for about every 1,000 offers you send out, maybe 1,500 now, you're going to buy a property at about 20% of its retail value.
Hmm.
And so you can just work it backwards from there. The more mail you send out, you got to do it smart. It doesn't work every time.
Yeah.
And the yield goes up and down depending on how you do it. At this point, I'm not afraid to say, we know how to do this. So that's it. It yields a very predictable and consistent result.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm assuming you have a specific website with a lot of good SEO and then buyers lists and stuff to sell these properties. Over the years, you've built up a good buyers list, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
Strangely enough, I guess it's like when you start anything new, it's like the stuff that you think is going to be a real challenge ends up being easy. And it's finding buyers for this property mostly because of the price and the way that MLS is on the internet. I mean, in 1999, this is really hard to do. It's
Right.
just the way technology is, it gets easier and easier. So I'm generally the data person and Jill's the personality. And so, I mean, have you had any problems selling any
No,
property?
selling's the easy part. When you tell someone, think about anything, hey, you want to buy that car for half price? Well, heck yeah.
I don't even need a car.
Hold on a moment. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same thing with the property. That's how we do it, and people say you could mark it up and make more. I'm like, I sure could, but I don't want to. I want to sell it fast and move on. And guess what? That guy's so happy. Now I have a buyer for life.
We never maximize price. Never.
So how do you come up with your offer prices, though? You
Well,
just
that's the
take.
trick.
I'm sorry.
That's the
trick.
tough part.
Yeah. But then again,
Is that the secret sauce? She can't tell you that one.
No.
Don't think so, yeah.
We share it all in Land Academy. You're not
Yeah.
talking.
well,
That's right.
we were going to get to that momentarily.
What
I'll
you
tell you
had special deal.
Yeah.
And so, just out of curiosity, in your direct mail, are you saying that you have about a 20% response rate? Or
We have, no, geez. We have I don't know what the percentages are. For every 1,000 offers we send out, we buy a property. So that's
Okay.
it's at half of 1%, less than
Yeah.
half of 1%. So,
So they get
That's
it
still
for
awesome.
20% of the price of the value.
it costs, let's say $500 to send out 1,000 mailers, and you're buying a property. Our average margin on a property is 10 grand. So the numbers really work that way.
Wow.
And
yeah, that's not bad at all.
and how many
60,000.
thousands do you send out monthly?
That's a good question, Jonathan. It's a lot.
As many as Jill can handle.
Exactly. Right now, my team is we're just about to roll in a whole nother market that we're working on. And I'm watching my team get ready to start hiring again.
Yeah.
So how are you selecting your markets? I mean, I would imagine it kind of runs real similar to people who are, fixing, flipping houses or buying and hold. How do you select your markets?
That's a great question. I run what's called a red, green, yellow test. And I'll take, I'm just off the cuff saying, I'll start the search on the internet on a website like Zillow or realtor.com
Mhm.
and just try to look at days on market for all real estate. And I try to whittle down to days on market. So let's say I find a county in Texas that makes sense. Usually like an outskirt of a major city outside of Dallas or whatever. I'm just making this up. And then I'll look at the zip codes in that county, and I'll pit them against each other based on 4 or 5 statistics that I think matter, like lowest days on market, how many properties are listed as compared to how many properties are in that universe in that zip code, and 4 or 5 other things. And then I do a red, green, yellow test. And so invariably 2 or 3 of the zip codes in that county just scream, hey, we need mail.
Mhm.
And so we don't throw darts at a board here at all. We let the data decide for us.
That's awesome. Do you ever buy lists, or are there lists that you can buy? I would imagine there are, right?
So we're licensed providers for the top 3 data aggregators in the country: RealQuest, Title Pro 24/7, and DataTree.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that
We don't
leads
buy lists. We create our own lists. We
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
direct access. In some of these cases, it's direct feed from these counties that are updated constantly.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. What is good data, and
Yeah.
where do you get it?
That is
So-
really part of this. I don't want a 2-year-old list. I want to go in
Yeah.
and pull my own list. That's on Steven's side of the sheet. I would.
If you've ever looked at like Zillow, everybody looks up their own house on Zillow. And if you look at that Zestimate, it's going to change all the time.
Mhm.
And so that's a
Mhm.
material way to price these mailers with those estimates and some of the algorithms that are all free. You just have to get it all organized in a data set that you can understand so you can get the offer prices correct. So you don't want old data. You want freshly aggregated, as real time as you can get data from these 3 aggregators. Again, we made every question you're asking, we failed at for like a decade.
Yep.
The way you learn, right?
Mhm.
Exactly.
That reminds me, somebody mentioned to me that you learn from your mistakes, but you gain wisdom from learning from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it saves a lot of money that way too. So my question, whenever I see anything that's so interesting like this, my first question in my head is, how in the world are people getting these things financed? I'm a lender. I can't help but think that way. So I'm wondering, what are the finance options that people have? I mean, do they have to be cash buyers on this? Is it something that they're able to get financing on?
So there are now more and more places like ruralfirst.com that will fund on rural vacant land. It's so interesting to me. Just in the last couple of years, they've popped up. So, and I know other people, they can go and get kind of personal loans, I guess, and then they can use that money. So we have, and we have a lot of people that we know that do lender financing.
Mm-hmm.
We have found that that's a place that we don't like to go anymore. And now that so many, they can get financing other ways, that we're pretty much cash. It's kind of like, call me when you have it in place, and we'll make this happen.
We're the
Yeah.
bank. Very often we're the bank. We have this
Sometimes.
program called deal funding in our group. And if they, if our members bring us a deal that's really good, we'll happily we don't even
That's
lend
true.
again on it. We use partnership. And we've got a bunch of people in our group that have hordes of money and have more money than sense, actually. And they're not, they kind of just say, you know what, if you guys think this is a good deal, here's a bunch of dough.
That's true.
And that only works. As a lender, you guys would laugh at how loosey-goosey the whole thing is, but it's all based on a handshake and usually a one-page agreement that says, we're going to buy this for $300,000. We're going to use all of your money. And if we think we can sell it for $500,000 because we know it's worth $1 million,
Right.
then whatever percentage we agree on, we split the net proceeds.
Wow.
So it's like two different things. So we have our buyers, they're kind of doing their own thing, but this is within our community that they find a good deal. They don't have the money to pull it off, to post it for sale. It's like basically I'm loaning them the money for 30 days kind of thing.
Right.
We do that ourselves.
We have
Kind
this
of like wholesaling.
Exactly.
We have a saying that no good acquisition should ever go to
Yeah.
waste because you don't have the money.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
There's so much money out there. You're 100% right.
So if you're selling to a retail buyer, have you ever thought about doing seller financing on them?
We have, and we have done that in the past. So I just, having those long payments, and watching my balance sheet go like that versus sell it for cash.
Right.
That
I
again,
totally get that.
That's kind of been our mantra the last couple of years. Why do you have different ideas? You want to change
Jill
that?
and I, again, it's steps into working with your spouse. So Jill and I have been over the years. We've been doing this together for 11 years. I started it 15 years before that. Every time Jill and I find ourselves in a situation where a landlord or we're in seller financing, it lasts about 3 months. And we look at each other and we say, we just need to sell this property because we're going to have to own it for 100 months or 100 years or whatever to actually make the money because we buy it so cheap.
Right.
But we have people in our group that have made an entire career out of, they work at a job, the money that's left over, they pay cash for property and sell it for $200 a month. And they just slowly build this, amass a $25,000, $30,000 cash flow, cash stream to them.
Right.
And they're happy as hell.
Yeah, we have friends in one of our masterminds, the Collective Genius, that and they're young guys too. They're under 25, both of them, and they're buying and selling land. They allow you to pay for it with a credit card online, and they seller finance most of what they do. Now, what they told us is though that within the first 12 months, about 30% of them go bad.
That's right.
That's right.
That's a pretty big number. As a lender, we went, ooh, that's scary.
We get a little uncomfortable around 2.5%.
But they have,
What's crazy
they have
about
it
that?
set up, and I'm sure you understand. You get it so cheap that in that first 12 months, it's usually paid for anyway. So it's not a big deal.
That's the beautiful thing. Exactly, Wendy. So if you want to do that, it's a little bit of work, and paperwork, sometimes a little hassle, reposting it for sale. But usually you're right, though, those buyers go dark. Like I have tried to track them down. I'm like, hey, it's okay. Did something happen? we need to work out something, change the payments. Like, I feel bad for them, but they're more afraid I'm going to chase them. So they go dark. And so I really am standing here going, well, I guess I just got all this for free. I'm going to relist the property.
Right.
Mhm.
Now you all have definitely perfected the art of finding the property, which that's the issue for most people. They don't know how to find the property. They don't know how to identify a good deal, and you all have perfected that. I wonder, I'm sure you all have given this thought. If you do seller financing and then just sell the note, just get out of it. So
Mhm.
take a down payment and then sell the note to somebody else and move on. And it's like the cash that you like. It's just a roundabout way of doing it.
Mhm.
Again, I've done that many, many times. There's before Jill and after Jill. Before Jill,
Nothing mattered
I-
before Jill.
I did that pretty successfully for a while, and then
Yeah.
I've ultimately failed at it because they need to see, I'm sure you guys know all about notes. It's they need to see a payment stream. Then the discount rate's better, the more solid the note is, and on and on and on. So it just becomes. Let me put it this way: you buy a piece of land that's worth $100,000 for $20,000. The next day, you sell it for $45,000. You've made your dough, and you're out. So there's all these other ways. We haven't found a better.
You must have a great big easy button on your desk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just say that we frankly don't like to work that hard.
There's a whole
I
big.
see your background.
I'm gonna be on my bike in an hour.
I don't blame you. I can't
I
blame
mean,
you
I know
at
they've
all.
been doing it for 20, 30 years.
So tell us about Land Academy. How does that work? What made you start it? And tell us about that. Your family.
It's so funny because we didn't intend to do this, and it was a result of our buyers. We had these repeat buyers for the years going, come on, you guys, I'm buying it from you, I'm marking it up, and I'm making money. How are you buying it so cheap? So we would tell, we can only help so many people. There was only two of us for a period, and we said, all right, this was kind of your idea. Steven's like, let's just put this together. I'm not sure if anybody's going to want this, but let's put our whole business model together. And we spent like a year creating it. You did most of that, writing it, recording it. And we launched it in July of 2015. And I'll never forget the day we, kind of made it live. And, it was so cute. Steven's like, all right, nobody's going to want this. And then overnight, it was like, what just happened? People loved it. It was great.
Mhm.
And so I never dreamed that we would be here, going on 6 years later. We're 5.5 years now later. And we've built this community, and it's all awesome investors who think like us, who really help each other, because we all believe in the mantra that there is enough property to go around everyone. And by helping each other, all we've done is made it where we are all doing bigger and better deals together.
We created markets for ourselves.
Yeah.
That was the unintended consequence, and it turned out great. We do way more deals now than we ever did before Land Academy.
Right. Yeah, it's a great way to grow a community of like-minded people. At the same time, you're able to do commerce with each other, and I think that's the best way to do business, is with people that like, and trust, and are working with each other, right?
Yeah, and
Exactly.
having a mentality of abundance, and how that creates more abundance for sure.
That's right. I even had a meeting with a couple of contractors yesterday. As I was leaving work, I stopped by a house, and two of them were working on a house that I'm rehabbing, and they were sharing ideas, but you could tell they were guarded about what they were saying. And then they were telling me that I need to worry about them because they're going to be sharks in my area buying houses. I said, no, you're not sharks. I want you to come into my area. I want you to know what I know. I want you to learn along with me, because we're better together than we are apart all day long. They're going to find deals that they can't do. I'm going to find deals that I don't want to do, and I can sell them to them. I mean, we're all better together.
Perfect.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Land Academy after we get off this call.
We'd love
I
to
want
have
to
you
hear.
on.
I want to hear about these other things that you've created. I see parcelfact.com, landinvestors.com, Land Academy, House Academy, County Wise, Land Tank. Talk a little bit about those.
So in the 90s, when I started all this mess, you know, it was just me sitting in the back bedroom of my condo, and there was no way to find property at all unless it had a U.S. postal office address, and it's still that way. So I had all 50 states of the maps of like an atlas you would put in your car. There was no way to find these properties, so we would just guess, and they were so cheap we would buy them and resell them on the internet. So eventually, Google Earth came about, and some other tools that were a huge CoreLogic. We're one of CoreLogic's middle tier customers, which is saying a lot. We use a lot of their data, and I developed this tool to find a property right on my computer by using the state and the county and the APN. And so we used it for years. And then eventually, when we started Land Academy, it's like, you know what? These people need these tools too. So we just web enabled everything. Parcel Facts like that. Neighbor Scoop is another tool. Jill and I own a commercial printing company called Offers to Owners because we were so frustrated about going to commercial printers, and they're looking at our print order, which is black and white, and it's a purchase agreement based off of a mail merge. And they've got another customer right next to us, which is printing multi-bajillion-dollar catalogs. So we were always this afterthought. So we said, screw it. My attitude's always been, screw it. I'm going to start my own stuff then if you guys don't understand. And it's it's funny to talk about it now. It takes 5 minutes to talk about it, but these things take I don't know if you've ever worked with developers, IT developers. They're just the smartest idiots there ever was.
You have to admit, sometimes it's difficult to understand the industry and then trying to put together a database that fits. And then once you get it put all together, you find out you can't change it without having to rework the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sounds like you listened in on our most recent tech meeting.
We thought about doing some customized things, and we just decided that we'll just get something that's out of the box, and then we'll just have to deal with it
rather than reinvent the wheel,
because we have a return on effort in this business right here that we calculate as well.
I call it the headache factor.
I love it. That's good, Bill. I'm going to use that a lot. Yeah. Hey, the ROE does not line up here. I'm out.
For sure. So tell me about your team. You mentioned a team earlier. So it's everybody pretty much knows what's on a home investors team, whether they're wholesaling or rehabbing or whatever. Tell me what your team looks like.
So I'll describe my team, and you want to describe your team?
Sure. Mine's really easy.
Okay. My team is responsible for everything from when the offers go out in the mail. That's where his stuff ends and mine begins. We take all the phone calls, get all the return offer letters. We do all the due diligence of the property. We purchase the properties. We, follow them through escrow, all that good stuff. My team is responsible for posting them for sale, following them all the way through, getting them closed, done, and all of that. So we're kind of the talky side, basically. He's kind of the go in the dark room part. Is a lot of what he does, and mine's the out there dealing with all the sellers and the buyers and the customers.
And then I kind of run all the Land Academy companies like O2O, but we're very lucky. We have one person who's been with us for years and years and years, and she really kind of runs all of this. But she doesn't have anything to do with the buying and the selling of the real estate. We buy and sell houses and mobile homes and mobile home parks too. And Jill handles all of that. I'm all the data part. So, if I don't get a good offer, a good solid, well-priced offer, by the time it gets to her, it's just a mess. She's got to unravel a lot of stuff and undo it. And she takes a phone call and it's not priced right. So I have one person that works for me, And he and I, between the two of us, we can really get a good offer campaign going where she can actually buy property.
So you're in acquisitions.
Yep. He's acquisitions. I'm sales.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So, can I assume that most of your team is remote?
Yes.
We have, how many people do we have working for us here?
9.
We have 9 employees, I think. And then we have an army in the Philippines that work for those people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's we have a few as well.
And they've been the greatest addition ever to our team,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, there are tasks that, they're, and unfortunately, most of them have a better education than I do. But
My executive assistant, she has an engineering degree. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Love
but
it.
listen, they're very helpful, and they take a lot off your plate, so you can concentrate on the the money making side of things versus the let's call it the tasks that you have to do. And
I had to have a conversation with we use one company in the Philippines. We're the largest employer. She's the largest employer in this tiny little town. And I had to have this conversation with her a year ago. I said, you got to stop charging me $3 an hour. You need to start charging us $5 an hour.
Right.
And she fought me on it.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
We have a question we'll answer real quick from Gray Duck Properties. In general, why do you think that hard money lenders don't finance land acquisitions?
That's an awesome question.
Because we just talked about this return on effort, and the default rate on land loans is somewhere between 20 and 30% in the first 12 months that people can see. And we don't want to, lenders don't want to own land. They don't want to go through the process that Steven and Jill go through to get these things done. Like, we just want to be lenders. We don't want to be landowners or property owners in general.
The other thing too is we do finance land. I mean, we'll
do infill lots. Yeah.
So we do a lot of infill lots. We want to know what the end project is going to be. Even if it's a commercial deal, we'll finance the land. Yeah. But we want to see the plan already has to be in place, zoning.
Recreational land, we're not going to finance.
Yeah.
Infill lots or, something like that where there is a product or something that's being made. Yes.
Yeah,
we will look
absolutely.
at that.
Absolutely.
This entire conversation that we're having, whenever Jill and I go to a dinner party or a cocktail party or a kegger, there's all these real estate people there because of where we live. And then there's us, and they ask us what we do for a living. And we say, we buy and sell land. And they just kind of go,
They've got the disease.
and then after we sit down and explain it, if we want to,
I know.
It depends on how many drinks we're in.
Yeah. It's an uphill battle.
It's so hard. But then the people that find us on the internet, they just completely get it.
Yeah.
So I've kind of given up trying to explain it.
You walk around with your ROI belt and you're like, my ROI is way bigger than yours.
and it is.
And it is. Yeah.
Isn't true?
That's awesome.
I'm often like, if you don't get it, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay with me. I'll be quietly over here doing just great.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
The thing is, people in the banking industry, people in the retail real estate industry are all looking at the same thing. They need speed, and you can't finance something you can't sell quickly that is not liquid in their minds, because really the people that are buying land are really the smaller piece of the buying pie when it comes to real estate. But your benefit is that you're marketing to people all over the country, not the people local that are going to be moving in. And then, a bank looks at it as, if I can't get rid of it quickly, how much am I going to have to discount it in order to sell it so we can get that money back and working? Because on the lending side, the cost of that capital not working is much higher than selling it at a discount.
But I will say this, the benefit of working with a hard money company like us or a private money lender is that we get to think outside the box. And if someone with experience, especially like yours, came to us and said, hey, here's the past 10 deals that I've done. Look how long I had them. Look what we made. And here's our plan for this one. We'd do it all day long.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
We would. We do it all day long. And I think it's important that we say that because
Yeah.
we will. We'll
Yeah.
we'll think outside the box.
However, not in California.
Yeah.
And not in New York
Or Oregon. That's out of the
Or-
question now.
or New
too.
Jersey. We try to stay away from those highly regulated states.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally understand.
We have the same rules.
Yeah.
For sure. But everywhere else we really
We
like.
love to visit though.
Yeah.
California is a great place to not do business.
Yeah,
You
yep.
said that right.
I was going to mention all those poor people on their bicycles, but they can't go to a restaurant when they're done bicycling to some place, right?
You're reading my mind.
Oh yes.
So what was that other question? Can you help a new investor gain funding to acquire property? If it has a house on it, yes. But if you're new in this land business, we probably wouldn't touch that.
You should talk to,
Other people.
Land Academy. They might be able to
Yeah.
help you get that done.
And see, that's
There you
another
go.
thing that we like too is when people call and ask, hey, will you do this loan for me? My first question to them is, what's your experience? And if they say, well, I haven't done it yet, then I want to say, well, where are you plugged into?
Mhm.
If they say, well, I'm in the Land Academy community and, we're learning this and we're doing that, that makes me a lot happier. And I'll ask more questions and certainly consider what we're talking about. We want to make sure that they're plugged in and they didn't just watch home and garden television and it looked really good to them.
but I'm serious. After this, I'm looking for some recreational land for myself. So I'm going to hit you guys up.
Yeah,
You just got a
absolutely.
boat, so it needs some water.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, if there's one thing I've learned since we started Land Academy, actually, like this land thing just makes sense to me. I had a light bulb moment in the mid '90s, and it's been a good thing for me all the way through. But people don't have that, so everybody has a different risk threshold. So I see houses as like hitting singles all day. You can make 20, 30, 40,000 bucks all day long with houses. But with land, it's a little bit more risky, and you might have to hold on to it a little longer, but you're going to hit stand-up triples pretty consistently.
Mhm.
So it's all risk threshold. If you're brand new, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're brand new, the first thing you should do is get a partner and somebody, because you're going to find out your partner's got a ton of money and no interest in sending out a mailer. So maybe you send out the mailer, bring in the deals, and throw them to your partner. The best thing that happened in my career, single best thing that ever happened, was joining forces with her. She took off half the stuff that I was doing, and it turns out the stuff that I don't want to do every day.
Sure.
And she loves doing it. And we like time tensed our whole operation in maybe 6 months.
Sounds
So
like you read
you don't have to
Traction.
be alone and new.
Yeah.
You can find a partner.
That is
Yeah,
so
good advice.
well said. And I always wonder why people would rather go it alone when, I'd rather make 50% of something than 100% of nothing.
Right.
And it just doesn't make sense. Why would you not want to bring that help in? It's there are so many better options that come with that
Mhm.
than things that could default on you. That's such a great way to do it. And Bill said it sounds like you've read Traction, the book. That's exactly what Traction talks about. It's a book called Traction by Gino Wickman, and he talks about figuring out what you like, what you don't like. You have somebody with you that does all the junk you don't want to do, and you do what you're gifted at, and coming together just makes everything work like it should. Like the person that you said that's been with you for years, that's really running the company, she's what we call an integrator in the book Traction.
Mhm.
They kind of are the spoke. So get that book. It's really good if you haven't read it. It's
Now we got
actually dull reading, but the information in it is really good.
Yeah, it's called EOS, the Entrepreneur's Operating System. And even if you are really good at a task, is it really the best use of your time?
Yeah.
Somebody else might be 80% as good as you, and it still get the job done the way it needs to be done, freeing you up to do the stuff that makes you
Critical.
the most money.
Right. The critical things.
And
The guys, the stuff that you're bringing up is really where that's the difficult stuff. Buying and selling land is easy. And,
Sure.
and I think buying and selling real estate is pretty easy. I think renovating it's really hard, and
Oh,
staying
yeah.
motivated it's hard, and and just staying organized.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need systems and processes in place in order to be able to scale your business up. And I'm telling you, it's again, she's right. It's not a you're not hanging on every page kind of read, but it's information that buy the Audible version.
Yeah, that's what I like. I can speed it up when it gets slow. but
So-
it's worth it.
So how can people get involved with Land Academy?
It's all just go to landacademy.com, and it's a rabbit hole from there. And you're either going to jump down the rabbit hole and say, wow, this really makes a lot of sense. We just did a podcast, like we're on your show. Jill and I have a podcast, and we just interviewed somebody who just hit this thing going 100 miles an hour. It's going to air on Monday, actually.
Yeah.
And she's just killing it. And she was brand new, but it just made sense to her. So
Mhm.
if you go to landacademy.com, it's all there.
Yeah.
And your podcast is there as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also say a great place to get information is we have a free online community. It's called landinvestors.com. We created it because, once again, there was no place for us to go and just talk about land and what we do. So you can just sign up. It's free and ask away. And our community is so open and honest and truthful, and they'll answer anything. Like, he loves to say, hey, is this a bunch of, does this really work? Come on, what's the story, you guys? And they'll say, yeah,
It's actually Land Investors with an S.
land investors.
Okay, land investors. Gotcha.
And we got a couple questions. It looks like Stephen and Jill, if you could do only one land or flip land or houses, what would you do?
I don't think that's a question.
That's
Count three. 1, 2, 3. Land.
Man,
and then the next question is, how much is it to get into the program?
That's a good question.
How much is it?
It's if you go to join.
that's why they have a team doing this for them.
It's $3,000. I know that it's under $3,000.
And if you wait for a sale, it's like
It'll be
it
even
can
better.
be, $1,200.
So yeah.
And then there's all this recurring education, and we have webinars like today. Actually, Thursday, we have a Thursday webinar all day. It ends up being 4 hours where people throw all their deals at us, and we look at them. We actually decide if we're going to finance them on sometimes.
Oh, nice.
And it's like they can bounce it off of us directly. That's
There
what
you go.
really, this is not a commercial, but what I think makes our stuff
go.
different is that we're involved. Jill and I are involved in this. We don't pay other people to teach it or any of that. We're directly involved.
Yeah. So we really believe in a small community. There's a cap. We won't go over 500. We want to keep it tight and small so we can have that connection and the interaction with everyone. So that's how it goes. And like you said, it's not just getting our education, which we're always updating and adding new programs. Like we added info lots and other things. He's working on some new stuff right now, but it's weekly direct access with us to ask us questions, and that's all included.
We have people in our group that are buying commercial real estate. They joined our group because they don't have any interest in land at all. They have interest in mechanizing their transaction or deal flow. So, they learned from us how to send out offers for strip malls, let's say, or mobile home parks or whatever their niche is. Sure. And, if you can buy a mobile home park for 50% of its value because the mom and pop who own it are having a real tough month, there's some huge equity value in that immediate. When you start signing that stuff, you've got millions in equity if you get the right deal.
Right.
I smile about that because one of the best ways to pick up a rental property is to hang out in court the day that they're having to evict people.
Yeah, I like eviction court.
And then go talk to the landlord.
There you go.
That's a whole show. That's great.
Definitely.
That's a reality TV show.
It's really good. Yeah.
Get a little mohawk and stand outside. I think that's a great idea.
So Scott pulled up the website there and showed pricing for everyone while you guys were talking. I don't know if you could see it or not, but it's nice because you have it right up there up front. So
Thank you.
the last question I was going to ask about this particular piece is, before COVID, were you guys doing any of your
Live
stuff live, where you'd have a meet up maybe quarterly or twice a year or something like that?
We did. It's usually, it's actually would be coming up right now. The first weekend in October every year is when we would bring everybody in and have a really fun live event with, all kinds of new content and education, and just, that's where people would make partners. That was one of the best things. People would come and they would see that they're not alone in this land investing world. And we watched partnerships be formed and grow like crazy from our events. So this year we're hoping to do it at the beginning of March. We've tentatively have it booked there, and everybody's like, waiting. We've had people come from all over the world. It's like so flattering that they would fly that far to see us and hang out. But yeah, I miss that.
Awesome.
We have multiple examples of people who have just randomly sat next to each other at these live events and end up being like lifelong business partners.
Yep.
To the point where they quit our group because they're so successful.
Yeah, they don't need us anymore.
Yeah,
we want that.
That's right. That's right. That's how we feel too. When people are doing loans with us, hard money lender's really a temporary kind of fix for you until you get big enough and you have your private lenders and you can get your own lines of credit.
Yeah.
We want them to grow out of us at some point.
Yep.
And there really is no replacement for seeing people live, in person on a regular basis. Wendy and Jonathan and I are involved in a couple of different mastermind groups, and I tell you, I have Zoom fatigue. I really miss going out and being able to see folks on a regular basis, because that's really where you able to build up your relationships, is to be there and in person, and hopefully that'll get back to normal here soon.
Exactly.
All through this, I got to tell you a funny anecdote on this. Jill, and this is our house, and this is like my office, but it rolls around and you can close it. It's a studio, and on this floor, the ground floor, we have a full-blown commercial bar, and so all during this COVID, we were the only bar open in town.
It's funny.
Anything ever.
Yeah.
So everybody knows us now as that bar that was on, and like some of us look like we're evil, and some of them look like we saved everything.
Yep.
So
Our friends say you saved us.
That's awesome.
That's
a great
awesome.
story.
And it looks like Amy is a member of your team. Would that be correct?
Yes.
So she put in the chat box that it's $26.50 to join, and she put support@landacademy.com. There you go. You've got it up.
Cool.
So it's a great way to get a hold of you. Good job, Amy. You have job security, sister.
That's not how she looks when she comes into the office every day, by the way.
she's a lot happier than that.
Sure.
Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the
It's
time
been awesome.
to join us. And I don't want to hold you too much from getting out there on the bicycle while
We're jealous.
it's still somewhat cool before the heat of the day sets in, right?
Right.
And we love your all's model. We think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is good.
Scott, can you put up the website one more time just so people can see it? Landacademy.com.
And we're really excited too, because you made us admit on, a national platform that will do land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got to put up.
And I love this right here. As a member for over a year now, they're a member in Land Academy. We have had a blast, and you will not find two people that are more committed to their community.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Big
You know what? That's why we do this.
Making me tear up.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
love
Awesome.
I love the name of their company too.
Own
Own
some
Some Land,
That's,
LLC.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's awesome.
we have an amazing community. I'm so happy and so blessed.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
You guys were great guests. I know you have some folks in the audience that you already know, and I know folks from our community are very interested in all things real estate, and this is a great model for
It
them
sure
to
is. It sure is.
copy. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're Carolina Capital Management. If you're looking to borrow money,
Even
you
on
can
land.
go to our website, carolinahardmoney.com, click on the borrower tab. Actually, there's no borrower tab. It just says apply now.
Yeah, that would be it.
If you're an investor looking for passive returns, then click on the investor tab. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and hit the bell. What the heck does that mean? Hit the bell.
I don't know.
Is there a bell?
There's
When
a
did
bell
we get a
now.
bell?
Well, maybe you're a ding dong.
Could be. Anyway, thanks for joining us, folks. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Dude.